Hello and welcome. Today we are going to learn sign of coordinates in different quadrants. So to begin with, let's start with quadrants. This is coordinate plane. Let's mark x and y axis here. So this horizontal line is x axis and this vertical line is y axis, and the point of intersection is origin. Now you can see here these x and y axis divide this whole plane into 4 parts, and each part is known as a quadrant. The upper right part is known as first quadrant, the upper left part is known as second quadrant, lower left part is known as third quadrant, and lower right part is known as fourth quadrant. So these are the 4 quadrants. Now to understand sign of coordinates in different quadrants, first we need to understand how do we mark numbers on x and y axis. So it's the same coordinate plane, x and y axis. This is our origin. These are 4 quadrants. I have marked them by Q1, Q2, Q3 and Q4. Let's start marking number on x-axis. We do it in the same way as we do on the number line. So we begin with origin, we mark it 0, and as we move towards right on x-axis, we write numbers in ascending order and the numbers are positive here. And as we move towards left from the origin, the numbers are negative here. Same with the y-axis. As we move up from the origin, the numbers are positive. As we move down from the origin, the numbers are negative. Now, wherever we take a point in this coordinate plane, the sign of coordinates will depend on in which quadrant it is. To explain this, let me take one example. Suppose this is a point on quadrant 1. To know its coordinates, first we'll draw a perpendicular on x-axis. Let's say it's PM1. We'll find distance from origin to M1. It will be positive because numbers you can see on x-axis are positive here. So it will be 4 units. Now PM1, this will also be positive because that will be along y-axis and number along y-axis are positive here. So it will be 3 units. So the coordinates of P would be 4, 3. Let's write the sign in this table. Here you can see that so in the first quadrant, both x and y coordinates are positive. Now let's take a point in the second quadrant. Let's say the point is Q. Same method. We draw a perpendicular on x-axis. Let's say it is QM2. The distance from O to M2, now it will be negative. Because you can see x coordinates are negative here. So OM2 will be minus 5. Now we find QM2. Now this will be positive. Because we are going above the x-axis, here y coordinates are positive. QM2 would be positive 4. And the coordinates of Q would be minus 5, 4. Here you can see x coordinate is negative and y coordinate is positive. Now let's take a point in the third quadrant. Let's say it is R. We draw a perpendicular on x-axis. It is RM3. OM3 would be negative. As you can see, x coordinates are negative here. And RM3 will also be negative as you see y coordinates are negative here. So this distance is minus 3. So the coordinates of R is minus 2, minus 3. You can see in this quadrant both x and y coordinates are negative. Now let's take a point in the fourth quadrant. Let's say it is S. Draw a perpendicular on x-axis. It is SM4. Now OM4 will be positive as x coordinates are positive here. And SM4 would be negative because y coordinate are negative here. So the coordinate of S would be 5 minus 4. Here you can see x coordinate is positive and y coordinate is negative. Let's analyze this table once again. On the right side of y-axis, x coordinates are positive. You can see in quadrant 1 and quadrant 4, x coordinates are positive. And on the left side of y-axis, x coordinates are negative. You can see in the quadrant 2nd and quadrant 3rd, x coordinates are negative. When we have to discuss about y coordinates, where those are positive and where those are negative, it will be with respect to x-axis. As we go up from the x-axis, y coordinates are positive. That is in quadrant 1 and quadrant 2, y coordinates are positive. And as we go down from the x-axis, y coordinates are negative. So in quadrant 3rd and quadrant 4, the y coordinates are negative. I hope you must have understood how sign changes in different quadrants. Here we end this video, and in the next video we will learn about polar coordinates. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe the channel. Thank you so much for watching.